Hello and welcome everybody to Freewheel Station. As we open up, we get like the shot that pans across, and we get the different planets, the three planets and their various moons, and we kind of pan over to where we see the station itself, and it looks a bit like a bicycle wheel, but there are parts that look like they're in bad repair, although they look like some of it's being repaired. And there's, maybe we see like a few ships that are sort of like flying back, sort of like flying into dock and then pulling away and stuff. And then we get the camera that cuts underneath the station. And as we go across the underside of the station, we see the pair of pliers that's welded into the wrench or whatever that's
Yep.
welded into this to the seam of the station and come out to the other side for the logo. Um, and then we do a wipe, and we come back to. We'll start off with Philip. First of all, since it's been a couple of weeks, let's get a physical description of Philip, and then where is Philip and what is she doing?
Philip is no. So Philip is a Meladrian from the planet Eox. She is one of the few living members of Eox to actually run around and still be like, "I'm alive." No, I'm not undead yet. I have plenty of time to become undead. But she happens to be 8 foot tall, and she's bald headed with big green eyes. And she normally wears some fairly decent armor that looks like a dress most of the time to confuse people. Uh, wow. Hang on, I just lost my brain for a second. Let me see. Yeah, she carries a club across her back because she knows how to kick it old school, and she's got a Bravo hand cannon on her side.
Awesome.
Um, her eyes glow red and trails of vapor, like that's not the right word. Roll back as she moves forward because she just got that upgrade a couple weeks ago.
Ah,
And that allows her to see in the dark. Yay, the dark.
oh,
Other than that, every once in a while you will see a little bitty guy who's only about 18 inches across at his widest, going behind her, trying to keep up as she strolls through the station. And that is Ha, her mechanic drone. And he's kind of cool. He doesn't do much yet, but he keeps her entertained, and he has a Bluetooth speaker inside of him to play music on. So you can't beat that.
all right. What is Philip doing at this point, and where is she at?
Hmm. So we're still waiting on crew to show up. I don't know. I would guess that I'm probably in the casino messing with the vault just to see how decent of a vault it is at this point.
All right, yeah. You've got kind of the most of the construction crews have finished what they were doing, and now it's basically decoration crews. People that are putting in like the various decorative elements to it. Whatever. Uh, you know, Making the walls look better, painting or whatever it is they're doing, hanging up artwork. Um,
Yeah,
maybe not great
mosaics.
artwork. Maybe not great artwork, but like locally sourced or something. You know,
Locally sourced mosaics. I like it. All right.
um, something like that. They're like there's a few people who are sort of like installing the last of the machines and whatnot.
Mm.
Like construction's done, but maybe there's some people that are still working on the electrical stuff, the speakers for like the internal sound system and what have you. Um, yeah, and you can hear like somebody testing out like the sound system in the background as you're looking in the vault, uh, kind of checking it out. Um, and I think you probably get a you probably get like a hail from the from like ops, and like that Dr. Kurad is super busy right now. He's working.
Right. He's
You have
got
like,
like 22 surgeries for upgrades. He's going to be busy for at least the next 24 to 48 hours.
well, not even just upgrades. Like one of the ships that recently came through had like a lot of injured passengers, like critically injured passengers, and
Mm.
their their backers were pretty, had the money and the insurance to like pay a fairly steep price to utilize your hospital services here. Um,
Yes, and we're more than happy to do that for them,
and
especially for the price that they suggested.
um, well, I mean, it's one of those deals where they didn't necessarily, the insurance company being the insurance company, offer lowballed the price like super hardcore, but you were like, find somewhere else, and the ship's captain was like, there's nowhere else to go. You guys have to pay up. And between the company he worked for himself and his insurance company, they battered around until they finally met your price. Um,
Mm.
if it had been on him to pay it, he probably couldn't have fronted the cost at all. Um, but the company he
Well,
works,
then we
he,
may have done it for other reasons, but he was the
yeah,
one that wanted to pay.
well, yeah, well, he worked for a shipping company,
Right.
yeah, just
Mm.
a small shipping company, but clearly any shipping
It
company is
was.
going to have more resources than most independent operators are. He wouldn't have been able to wrangle the insurance company. It was the lawyers for the company he worked for that wrangled the lawyers. Um, but you like to get the payment. But Dr. Kurrat is super busy. But you do get like a a thing from the from Colovian, like, and she's like, you have at least three relatively important individuals that petitioners that are looking to set up so that that would like to speak with you. Well, two trading companies of some note and the new representative for the Velquin for the Velquin royal family has arrived.
Oh, so the Velkins are the Duke and the Duchess, right?
The count and the countess. Yeah.
I was close. They're not here to be mad at me. All right, and that's fine. That one we actually had business with. Um, what do I want to call him to remain this week? Cor Cordrum? No, Corvus.
Orvis.
Isaac's
Crenville.
brother, Crenville. See, I say Crenville's been hiding out over here, so I just didn't know if he was in the casino at the moment or not.
Uh, I think maybe he is, since you guys kind of like signed off on the deal. He's actually like directing traffic. He's managing, right? Like he's splitting his time right now between managing the casino and taking shifts on the in ops. But right now he's managing the casino.
Very
Um,
well,
I think it's probably Colovians and ops right now.
and that makes sense.
Unless it's
As much
Jim.
as she complains, we do pay her well. So, and honestly, I think she's the only one I've given extra days off to. It's not like Nimbus has got 2 days off in a row.
That's because Ninvis isn't trusted with nearly so many critical, like so many critical things. Like he just greets people for the most part.
Right, right. Well, that's
She's,
also, if she ever brought that up, I'd be like, well, it's your fault for being the smart one.
yeah, like so she's not going to bring it up, but it's that thing where like because she's more competent, you guys have leaned on her for bigger decisions than you do for Ninvis. So Ninvis
And
doesn't
that's why
feel
she will
overworked.
become our first lieutenant.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, she's like the Velquin ship has arrived with the new representative on it.
Hmm.
If you'd care to meet them in docking, they they're the trading companies of the Gemfish Trade Consortium and the Paperleaf Tea Trading Company both have agents here who would like to gain an audience with the council.
Well, I start with the paper leaf.
All right. Yeah. So, they're like, uh, where do you decide to meet with their representative?
We have offices, sir. Let's go to the office. Not the main office on the deck, but like the ones we set up next to the doctor's office.
Okay. So you've got like you go to your offices and have have your people be like, okay, um, yeah. So
Ah, greetings and salutations, representative of the Paper Leaf Trading Company. My grandfather has told me much about your people, and
mm,
I am more than happy to see you.
and do you call Kib up for or Death Arms up for this meeting?
Um, okay, so honestly, before that roll, absolutely not. After that roll, I'm pretty sure they can come. Um, uh, while Kib is great at lots of things, he is not the best diplomat. We still haven't been able to get, oh, what are they called? Point one, is that the
Yep. Point
Android
one. Yep.
Android
Refugees.
pioneers? That was what I was going to call them, Android pioneers. But
Well,
yes, we still haven't got them to call us back since Kib's little fiasco with their rep. And then, I mean, Murder Arms um, is guarding Kib, so I don't know. Hmm. I suppose they can show up in like 5 or 10 minutes. And by 5 or 10 minutes, after we get the first couple of sentences of this out of the way.
so you send them the message late, like when the meeting has already started or something?
Yes, well after I've made introductions.
Okay. All right. So the guy who walks through the door is not exactly what you expected. Like everybody else who's come here has put on some sort of like outside of the space pirates directly comes in dressed relatively professional. Even Isig and Crinville, their armor is their suits.
Yeah.
Crinville has a set of armor that is not a suit, which you see him wear sometimes, but not. But that's usually
Well,
like
and that's
you've seen him wear the suit more often when he's been working as a more working for the in regards to the Grimbuckle,
yeah, when
because
he's doing real work, he wears armor that's better than his pretty armor.
well, more or less, when he's yeah, you could tell he's somebody who's more comfortable on the field, but he will wear the uniform more or less, although he never tightens his tie all the way. And he
Right. He's
never
always
and
shifty.
his he wears his suit just a little bit more casually. He's not as put together as Isig is when Isig shows up. Um,
Well, Isaac gets off
but
on being fancy too, so
but this guy, he's an elf, and he's he's made an effort. He looks kind of like he looks like a frontier kind of guy. He looks like somebody you might expect to see more in a space pirate crew than as but like fronting a legitimate operation. And he's got like his hair is like a shock of like a sapphire, like an electric sapphire blue kind of color,
oh, it's Rowan. Okay, gotcha.
and he's got and he's wearing like um and he's wearing like his armor tends to have like a bit of fur trim to it, and it's very like light armor. It's
So you're
more,
telling me that it's an elf without a mask on? I like this elf already.
yeah, he's not wearing a mask. You can see tattoos poking out here and there. Um, and the blade that he's got across his back, you like if you look at it closely, it seems to have grooves in it that you could almost weird grooves in it that you just from an engineering standpoint, you look at it and you go, those would make noise. Those would make certain pitches of noise the way those are notched. Those grooves are set in there when it's not going to affect any kind of damage necessarily, but it seems interesting that has his weapons specifically designed to make different toned noises. And he kind of looks at you and goes, "Hey, reaches his hand out affably, and he's like, "Zerk Silver Soul," and he goes, "I'm the representative here for the Paperleaf Tea Trading Company." He goes, um, "You may not have heard of us. You won't find us in the credits and credentials, but we're a solid company with a
Did he
very
not hear
long."
my whole intro?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
he's this is the thing. He's like and he kind of nods to the fact that you like your grandfather. He says, and when he says you like most people wouldn't know about us is like kind of the explanation here is the way that Tony is like most people haven't heard of us. You won't find us in the credits and credentials exactly. But we are along a solid company with a long history of fiscal responsibility and great customer satisfaction. He's like
What was his last name again? Because Zerk I can spell.
Silver Soul.
So it was Silver Soul.
Yep. And he's like, and he says, I understand you're getting up and running. You got a casino in a boards, which I kind of rather enjoy the idea of, and says we we're pretty sure that we can find some botanical substances in the surrounding area to create some new and exotic teas for our catalog. And we're kind of looking to set up an outpost here. We're thinking nothing fancy, maybe just some offices and some cargo space to, keep to hold cargo of freight while we wait for shipments to come in and out. And sort of act. I'll stay here as liaison. Make sure everything runs smoothly, accounts are balanced, things are paid. Just try not to be in your hair too much. There was some talk about maybe potentially opening an actual storefront here once we determine how good the market here is or what we do, or kind of get a little bit of a feel for it. But we were interested in setting up some things here. So you'll find and he hands you a data pad. He says you'll find the offer is a very reasonable offer. He says, and as far as we're concerned, your station, your rules. We're just here to run a business, and as long as we can do so in a profitable way, uh, we're hoping for a relatively responsible and not so bumpy road. Um, and this is maybe like about the time Kib you arrive and
I was going to say, when I send them the message,
yeah,
I say, we have company, boys. Best behavior.
yeah.
And
Okay,
then
so
Kib gets a second text that says, Kib, put on that blue tie I gave you.
so when Kib comes busting through the door, he's like, "Oh, I'm here," and he's carrying like a stack of papers in his arms, and you see the tie. It's kind of not done up, but draped over
Yeah,
his shoulders, hanging down in front of him. Like
and that's
he
fine.
attempted to, but he was like, "Oh crap, I'm late." So he grabbed his papers and ran in here. I was like, "I tried to tie. I got best I could with the tie."
Yeah,
Okay, hey,
Kib,
let's
you're
get
not
that
late, buddy.
physical. Yeah, let's get that physical description since it's the first time since we haven't had the physical description in a few weeks. Obviously, we got the
And
tie.
I assumed that Murder Hands is like close behind you because he's your bodyguard and he's supposed to be behind you.
Yes, I would be like trailing, like, slow down. They don't care if we're late. I don't care.
Yeah.
yeah,
All
they
right,
do.
now back to
They
Kib.
care. Yeah, they care. So he's a short little rat-looking dude, and he's got a really nice, colorful armor thing. And then here and there is just random tools, stuff on his belt and what of different tools to fix things. And he comes in, with a hyper attitude like he always does, but he's got a stack of papers and kind of sets him down on the desk and then looks around the room and is like, "So, who's the fun person today?"
This
And
is Mr. Silver Soul.
And
Hello,
as
sir.
and let's get the physical description of Death Arms as well, since you came in like right after Kib, like
Yeah,
so.
you don't have a tie. I haven't given you one yet. You're fine.
Okay, so Death Arms would be this big, tall, bulky, red kind of guy. That's like a frown on his face, because the guy that he came here to capture, he is now protecting because he knows what his boss can do. So he is always on his guard, no matter who he's with, even if he is alone.
Hmm. Okay, but now describe what species you are.
Okay. I am forearms and with like forearms, a sonic pistol on my right hip, and a knife on the left, and then got a rifle in the back. So it's like big four-armed, bulky guy that might be able to lift about 1,000 pounds with all four of his arms at full capacity.
Really interesting. I like it. All right. Is
All
that
right.
all?
So yeah, so let's get back to the conversation then. Yeah, Zerk looks over and he's like, ah, he goes, uh, is this the rest of your council then that I've heard of?
Well,
Yeah, sort of.
the
Give me a minute.
doctor is
Hold on.
currently in. The doctor is currently in several rounds of surgery. There was a pioneer ship that had massive casualties due to a meteor shower, I believe is what they said. And so there were some deals made, and he's currently looking at about 24 hours of surgery. So, with a couple breaks in between, I'm sure. So, unfortunately, you won't be able to meet the doctor today. But back to us. So, this is Kib. This is my main engineer and his bodyguard. Um, it's actually quite an amusing story that I'll save for a later date. And as this is going on, I walk over and I take the tie off of Kib's shoulder and I tie it around his neck, leaving it just cockeyed enough he's happy. And then I go back and sit down in my chair. So, Kib,
Thank
what's the
you, ma'am.
paperwork?
This is material. See, thank you for that. Anyways, so I was looking over what we need to fix and what materials we need. So I wrote it down and what materials we can do to start working towards making the station more whole again. So I wrote it down and I figured when we had a chance we can go over that part. But we're with the elf person that looks kind of cool.
Mr.
What's his name?
Silversoul.
Silver Soul. Yeah. What's his
Yeah.
name?
He goes,
What I miss?
he's like,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Silversoul.
he says, well, to reiterate what I told your
Councilwoman?
councilwoman here, that I represent the Paperleaf Tea Trading Company. You may not have heard of us. You won't find us in the credits and credentials. We don't draw a lot of attention, but we are a very sturdy company with a long history and proud history of very wise conservative business investments, and we specialize in teas, although we move a great deal of sundry other products. If there are items on your list of supplies you need that we could fill, perhaps we could work out some deals in that direction as well. But what I come here today primarily for is I have been sent to set up operations. We're looking to we're hoping that you'd be willing to provide us with an office space and some cargo space to hold cargo as we move through our products throughout and supplies throughout the sector. We're also hoping to launch pad to maybe find some botanicals in the area that can be used to make new and exotic fresh teas for our catalog. But we do.
Jester, out of character. Right now, we can't move anybody new in, correct? Because we don't have the actual points to have new businesses. That was
Right.
the whole reason. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
at this point, he's like, They don't know that yet, though.
Okay,
And
well, and
even if they do, it makes sense that they're trying to get in early for some reason.
and that's fine. So as soon as he finishes his spill to Kib, because he's already gone over it with me, then we'll get to that part. My
Yeah,
apologies for interrupting.
yeah. He's like, we're. He says there is the possibility if things go well and we have a decent business arrangement here, things are profitable for us, of potentially asking for a storefront face here, sell a few wares to those who enjoy exotic teas and other sundry products. However, all we're looking for at the time being is some cargo space in one of your cargo holds and some offices, reasonable rates as far as it goes for the for the rental of space and services rendered. A contract leaves open for further negotiations expanding deals or changing terms as both parties agree to. He says, we understand you're still working on building things, but
Mm.
we
Yeah, I'm like halfway through the conversation. Gib looks at the papers, starts shuffling them around, kind of goes through, and it's like there might be space, but we need the. Yeah, we can get back to you because maybe it could be cool. I don't know. We'll have to have a council meeting, but you present your presentation, and we'll take it into consideration for future development. Maybe.
he's like he's like he says, as you wish. He says, I have secured a room for the interim. This is my posting until we have a definitive yes or no. And
Ah,
if we have a definitive yes, it will likely be my posting in a bit more permanent basis. He says,
okay.
but for the
So,
time being, Mrs. But for the time
Mr.
being, I have a
Silversoul,
proposal. hmm He looks
Mr.
up.
Silversoul, I am completely and 100% ready to back your presence on our little space station in the middle of nowhere. Because I do have slightly more knowledge thanks to my family influence, I would be more than happy to provide you with a room for the ongoings right now. And I would be more than happy to get a storefront. I wink at him for you guys as soon as possible. But at this moment, we are at max capacity of things we can do until we get another surge in capital, which I know that you would help provide, but isn't quite enough to provide you with what you're asking for at the moment. But you
He
were definitely 100% on my list for having complete backing on my side, and I'm sure that the Dr. Kurad would agree with this when we speak to him after he's had like 20 hours of sleep after this surgery bout.
So I want Soul Demon, since you're super on the alert about everything, give me a sense motive here. I want to see what you can make of this.
And see, what's
You're
funny is I didn't do a sense motive because he's a Paperleaf employee.
right.
Uh, but if anyone can get a 20 for it.
Well, this is one of those situations.
Oh,
Like you would normally be able to read you're normally pretty good at reading people, but this guy, he reminds you of that elf woman that was with Captain Dravovok and Osgavat.
Robok. Yeah.
The In the fact that he's seems to be relatively friendly and affable, but looking from a professional standpoint, looking at his getup, because he isn't dressed like a businessman. He's dressed like an adventurer. He looks more like he's comfortable in a space pirate port than he is in a boardroom. And he's representing a company that's going to do business here. Um, he doesn't seem to pose a direct threat immediately, but the fact that he's not so easy to read and looking at the weapons that he's got and the weapons and armor that he wears and the casual way that he wears them, um, you've no doubt that this guy's a cut above the he's no simple merchant. He's no simple pioneer or merchant. There's something, beyond all of that. He's seen some shit, quite obviously. And he kind of nods to you, and he says, as he leaves, he says, "Mr. Foe, Mr. Kib, Mr. Arms," and he says, "If you need me, my number,
I would assume he's on
com
level
num-
3.
yeah." He's like, "My com number is my com number is on the data slide. Should you require, should
Well,
you have any business you wish to discuss?" And he says, "Until such time, at your leisure." And he kind of gives a respectful, sort of like bowing
I
nod
stand up and curtsy,
as he sort of like excuses himself.
and I kick Kib.
Yeah.
Kib,
Thank you.
bow. There you go.
Just stands up and does the yeah. Thanks, meeting you. Ow.
All right.
I
As
say
soon as
bow.
he
Do I
leaves,
say bow when I do it? Wait.
you don't have to say bow. It's okay.
Okay.
He's gone. I'm sure he got a kick out of you. All right. So as soon as he leaves, I press the button under the desk and the door locks, and I turn to both of them, and I'm like, "So, out of everyone that has come to see us and ask for a place to be, these people, from what I've heard through stories that my parents and my grandfather have told, are people that we want on our side. So, good job, everyone, for behaving for these people.
They
And as
make
soon as
tea
we have,
though.
yes, they make the kind of tea that gets things done, though.
Oh.
And
Well,
I'm not
that's kinda
talking
cool.
Hyperleaf.
What? Oh. I'm confused. So can
Don't
they
be
get
confused. They don't have to fuck with pirates. Pirates are afraid of them. How's that?
I'm going to allow you a
Oh.
culture roll to see how much you know about them, given that you are a noble. You have culture, right?
I have a fuck ton of culture. No,
Give
I'm not
me.
gonna roll another 20 though.
You know quite a bit, considering,
Oh, nice.
given your connections and who they are and what they do. You are fully aware that the Paperleaf Tea Trading Company is far more than the humble, like the humble company that Zerk tries to portray it as.
All
The
right.
rumor
So,
had nobody's quite sure exactly how far their influence goes, but Paperleaf Tea Trading Company owns stock in a lot of powerful companies and owns a lot of shell corporations. It's rumored that they own entire media conglomerates. Or some people say that and there are a lot of people. Your grandfather said that they deal in traffic both legitimate and illegitimately, which he
yes.
talked about when he was talking about like their media presence and their ownership of media corporations. He was like, they deal in information both in a legitimate means and illegitimate means.
hmm
Was
And
kind
so,
of
what I
the
said to them originally is still what we're sticking with because I actually did manage to know at least that much.
yeah,
So,
like
and
there's
I'm
still
glad for that. Yeah, there's a lot I don't know, but I do know that they are someone that grandfather liked having on his side.
yeah, maybe he even stepped cautiously when dealing with them, just given their
Yeah.
massive influence and the mysterious
Yes.
nature.
The paper leaf is not someone we betray.
Yeah, kind of one of those where it's like, do I have the power to challenge them? Maybe, but I don't know for sure. Like,
Yeah, but I don't want to try.
it's not worth it. I would gain as much as I need to out of it.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's kind of one of those deals.
So right now, Kib and um Murder Fist. No, Death Arms.
Death arms.
I'll get it right eventually. So anyway, we have some nobles that we have to see that were sent by the what are their names? You met them, Kib. They didn't like you, but they decided they wanted to use us anyway.
Count Lesub and Count
That's it.
Siriva.
Right, they have titles in the middle of nowhere. I often forget why they're important. But anyway, the Count and Countess have sent someone new to deal with this because we are below their radar. So, would you like to meet them now?
Yeah, just kind of scoot the papers over to the side. It's be like,
Okay. By the
yeah,
way, Kib,
paged them. They'll come, I guess.
Kib, we live in the future. What happened to your data pad?
That has information too, but this is a lot easier
So you
sometimes.
filled up your
I
data
use
pad.
both.
I got it.
Yeah, it got full. I got to
Yeah.
go in and defrag, and disk cleanup, and correlate files and put them to. I'm behind a lot of things, and
Right.
I got a lot of
I get down to Kib's level in his chair and I look him in the eye and I'm like, Kib, you're doing fine. Now remember, we have to pretend to be nice to these people. And I don't know who. Defron, you're on secretary duty right now. Go ahead and send in the diplomat. And I push the button and the door unlocks.
So, yeah. So it takes.
I just had a thought. After you say we have to be proper, I'm going to take the tie and actually straighten it to where it looks straight.
Very nice. And while that's all going on, I'm also reaching into the cabinet to pull out the Pebblebrook whiskey. It is the finest spirits that I have at the moment, at least.
All right. When it takes a few minutes, but eventually, they do arrive, and you recognize Hesha because Hesha was the Kyle servant of the Count and the Countess.
Oh, nice.
But
That's
they
S. No, H-E. Just spell it for me.
But Hesha has someone with her, and Hesha is she's like Miss Stepfoe and gives like a deferential like partial like a bows her head just a little bit, and she goes,
Hi, curtsy.
Mr. Kib.
And what was her species?
Stand up and bow.
She's a Kyle. She is of shadow descent, humanoid of shadow descent. But the person she has with her is much like the Count and the Countess, actually a shadow fae. And you can see like the points of his ears coming through. Like his hair is slicked back and he's wearing a ponytail, but he's got like his clothes are, whereas whereas the Count and the Countess wore very regal looking clothes, but they weren't, they were downplayed in their flamboyance. It was more about the material than the colors. This guy wears a lot more colors than you would expect for a person from an entire shadow empire. He does wear sense. He does, instead of wearing just blacks and grays, he's got shades of blue mixed in with it. Shades of purple and blue that he mixes in. They're still darker colors, but it does come off as a bit flamboyant compared to Hesha, who seems more dressed more professionally, and the Count and the Countess, who still wore mostly grays and black shades of black, shades of gray and black. This guy is a little bit, and she's like, "May I present to you the liaison from the Count from Count Lesib and Countess Siriva, Mr. Quindon Maloon." And
all right, go ahead and spell that for me too, sir.
And
Hey, Soul Demon. I'm getting a lot of background noise from you.
Yeah, you might mute when you're not talking.
My apologies.
Kind of, in order to reduce that. I mean, unmute when you need to talk or whatever, but just for background. Quindon Maloon. And Quindon, he is wearing like a wide brimmed hat, and he's got like a wide brimmed hat and like with a sort of like an ash colored feather plume that is off, coming out of it. He is wearing. You can tell that like the clothing itself is armored, but he's obviously been here for a minute. He goes, and he gives a as he kind of enters the room, and unlike the count and the countess, he doesn't seem to have his nose in the air, and unlike Hesha, who seems to be all business, he's seems a little bit more casual. He's like, ah, he goes, I was hoping I'd get a chance to meet you, um, before it was time for more official business. The I'm pleased to report I am your assigned liaison for the Velquin Empire, Count Lesib and Countess Sariva, and Hesha shoots him a almost evil look, and he goes, "Have sent me to facilitate trade between the Velquin Empire and the Lichdom Corporation." And he says, I assume that there is a room that I can occupy while I'm staying here.
Yes, we will get that done. I press the button for. Wow, I lost my brain again. I just had him in here a minute ago. Not Colovian. Oh, Defrong. Yeah. I push the button so Defrong comes back in.
All right, yeah.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you? This man needs a nice room as well. Kashesh, or not
382?
Kashesh.
I think 382 is
Hesha.
available.
Yeah. Hesha, are you staying as well?
No. At least not for any real length of time. I'm here until the cargo from this shipment is unloaded, and then my duties require me that I hasten my way back to the Count and Countess. However, I will the likelihood that they will send me back out here to occasionally get a status report or inspect the operation is fairly likely.
Well, I figure we have about 2 more weeks before the casinos open, and you can get a luxurious room, dear. Right now, we have what we had last time, but a little bit cleaner because we've managed to get a couple of extra people. But anyway, that was all I needed to know. So, DeFront, put this nice man on level 3 somewhere with me. I know we haven't completely filled up there, but level 3 seems to be our best level at this point.
I think 382 and 383 are available. Where's my tablet? Oh, here we go. Yeah, those 2 rooms are available. You can put them in that one.
All right, yeah, we'll put him in 382. That sounds great.
Yeah.
We will make sure we get instructions for that. But now, on to the normals. So, is this a shipment of cargo that we will know what's in, or are we just supposed to trust you guys?
He's like, you are free, of course, to inspect it. Obviously, you are the recipient on this one. I assume the banking that the payments have been set up through your organization.
Yes.
I was assured that all of the groundwork, the basic inherent groundwork on the financial side was already set up. So you are, of course, free to inspect, and I, of course, obviously expect that you would. You are, after all, receiving the product here, and we will be loading up with whatever product that you are sending back with us.
Of course.
He says, we will be sending if you, he says, this time it's rather basic. It's obviously getting the supplies together for the first run and what have you are a bit complex maneuver, but I assure you that things will get smoother, especially as we streamline the process therein. If you have any
Well,
this is and he kind of as soon as you start to say something, he stops. He's like, "I'm sorry."
well, no, go on. I apologize. I felt that I was interrupting after I saw that you were continuing.
Oh, he says, any business, he says, things should run generally smoothly, barring any major complications. But if you have any questions related to trade with the Velquin Empire or the Velquin Empire's stance on things in general, you may find me at your disposal. I understand you will soon have a certain level of entertainment around here that I find. Mm. He's like, he's like, is there any particulars that you wish to discuss with me that haven't been gone over within the general context of the paperwork set up by the lawyers and bankers?
No. Well, so would you like some Pebblebrook whiskey?
He says, well, that depends. He says, uh, he says
What
that
year is it? It's 33, right?
he's like,
I say it's a 25. That's the best I can tell you.
he goes, well, I was more speaking of the question of if we are done with formal business, then absolutely.
I believe that we are done with formal business.
I'm just curious what
Oh, go
the
ahead.
material. Sorry, I want to notate this in the file I'm making. I found my tablet, so I made a file for
Good.
their company and whatnot. And I have a little spot that says materials. With a generalization of materials, what can you describe would be those materials that I can put in this little box next to you guys?
He's like, well, we actually filed a full manifest with your deck crew when we land.
Hold on.
Uh, I believe
Oh,
his name
okay,
was
okay.
Invis.
I can access the network and find that. Okay. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
there it is.
Nimbus shouldn't have
I
it
have
encrypted or
to.
anything.
I, my files are all jacked up right now. I'm so sorry about the unprofessionalism that. Dang it! I messed up. Um, my bad. I got it. I'm good. Sorry.
Yeah, he's like,
You'll
we.
have to forgive Kib. He's a perfectionist.
Oh no, that's well, perfectly understandable. Uh, I'm afraid I couldn't give you a full accounting down to the last nut and bolt, but I assure you a great many of the things that we had discussed, we, in the sense of the Velquin initiative here, had discussed with you as far as materials. It probably won't be able to do everything that you're wanting and needing to do. As I said, getting the first runs of shipments and setting out the infrastructure for a new venture like this is a bit expensive, but as we move along, it'll get a little smoother. We'll have a little bit faster run on things. I believe there are some food supplies in there, some basic
Oh,
medical things. That I know there's some construction electronics parts, but the full manifest is filed.
and
This
we
is
appreciate that. If we decide that we do need to go and check on anything, we will let you know and have you there if that's what you wish.
I would appreciate being included in any business that includes the Velquin Empire. This is
I
this is,
must admit that you are a drop of sunshine compared to our previous encounter, and I appreciate that as well.
this is
So, if formal business is agreed upon to be complete, then let us drink, and we'll get you to your room.
he says
Uh, Defron, make sure that it's clean.
he nods and he says and he says and between you and me, and he sort of ignores that Hesha is still there, who's been listening to this whole thing. Count Lesub and Countess Sarivar. They've got a little bit. They're not much fun. And I assure you, not everyone from the Velquin Empire is quite so dour. I mean, they are dour, but not quite so much as the Count and the Countess. They're particularly sour individuals. He said,
I would like to sense motive Hesha. I
okay,
have no clue how she's feeling.
yeah. Well, you actually get a pretty general idea because she doesn't exactly hide her annoyance at this. Because you get the feeling that you're kind of starting to get the feeling that um, that Quindon here, that Quindon Maloon, doesn't care quite as much for the conventions of either his job or his people as Hesha does. Hesha seems to take things more seriously, and particularly her role as her agent for her role as an agent for the Count and the Countess. But he seems to take these things a little bit more casually and in stride.
All right, so from outside the door, we hear boom as Ha hits the door, and
Mhm.
you hear him swearing in some language. And suddenly the door opens, and you see that he has pulled wires out and has rewired it to notice him because he's tired of running into the store. And then he takes a spot behind me, and that's what Ha's doing at the moment.
All right.
All right.
Honestly, we should get all the cameras to notice his existence. Dude, uh, later we're
Yeah,
done with this. We can work
all
with
right.
that in program.
I hand Kib the shot immediately. I'm like, drink this and calm down, sweetheart.
Yeah. And there's
Murder Fist,
Yeah,
I mean, Death Arms, do you want one as well? I'll give you one anyway.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
yeah. I
there you
think,
go.
and I think I think they. I think that Quindon Maloon kind of. Yeah, he'll have a few drinks with you. Hesha, of course, excuses herself. She goes, "Well, you may be able to call your job done. Benefits of being a diplomat." And she says this with some small distaste, and she goes, "I am not off the clock. I have work to do." And she's like, she's like, "I'll be in touch with you, Mr. Maloon. We still have a few business things that we need to, a few last minute instructions from the Count and Countess, and a business to discuss before I depart." And he goes, "Absolutely, and I will consider myself on the clock for such meetings." And he goes, "For the time being, as you say, benefits of being a diplomat." And he kind of gives her a gesture. He's like, and she kind of like nods and says, "If you'll excuse me."
Bye, Hesha.
well, I'm kind of do a quick stand up bow thing as she leaves, then get back to the tablet because this thing is a mess, and I try to work on that while still trying to engage everybody else here and try.
Okay. Do
By
we
the
have. Go ahead.
eh, by the way, um, you've heard the name Gemfish Trade Consortium, but I don't know that Soul Demon has. But those of you with I know you've got culture, so you can make a culture check to see what you know about the Gemfish Trade Consortium. Um, if you mention it to Death Arms, he can also make a culture check because he has culture as
Well,
well.
Death Arms is here listening and on guard, so.
Well, but Gemfish
And
hasn't been mentioned since he's been in the room.
that's true. Yeah, merely just the Count and Countess. I
Yeah.
say, Death Arms, I don't know if you know about these people. They're part of the Gemfish Consortium. Best bass I've ever had.
Well, the Gemfish is a different faction than the Velquin, so yeah, you have never heard of the Gemfish Trade Consortium. Death Arms. Philip, would you like to make a culture check?
I mean, past what I'd already had.
This is separate because you made one for the Paperleaf Tea Trading Company.
Oh well, I made diplomacy for that, but yeah. Oh, I did do
Oh,
paper
you
leaf tea. You're right. All
so
right, let me find culture.
Kib, you've heard of them, but you don't know much about.
I know just a little bit more than Kib.
Yeah. So you've heard of them. You don't know a whole lot about them, but you've heard them mentioned like financials and stuff. Like maybe the business reports that were on, when you were walking, when you were, visiting with your like family and stuff. The last time you were talking to you, maybe the last time you went through, like, spoke with your grandfather, there was a report in the background about the Gemfish Trade Consortium, being sort of a newer, like, trade group that comes from that nobody's quite sure where exactly that they hail from originally. They're kind of new to the Pact worlds, um, and and also to the Marixa Republic. They're they're fairly well known for being a fairly solid trade company. Like there's a reason they're like in the business reporting. Obviously, but maybe kind of the things you heard about them was, that they were making an impact in the market, that they were, um, in the sort of like interstellar space trade. They were kind of new up and comers. Like Paperleaf specifically keeps a low profile so that they're not mentioned. Like other companies they own stake in all over the place, but nobody knows they own stake in them. Gemfish, they've actually been specifically mentioned on the business thing. They try to be noticed as a trading company. They're trying to make a name for themselves.
So, Kib, what do you think?
Well, yeah, good. It could be beneficial. I mean, there's stuff. I don't know much about them, but they're useful probably. And some of these things that they got in this manifest, now that I find the file, um, it could be useful to us and not too expensive. So yeah, I think we'll be good over
Well,
there. Yeah.
Tradefish haven't given you an offer yet. Like you've got offers on the table from. You still have an offer from the Accord, Sestra's group, and she's kind of still been around. And you have offers from Paperleaf Tea Trading Company, which you guys are looking at, and Quinton Maloon. You already have a deal with the Velkan Empire. He's just their representative that they sent to be their liaison. But he's the one who actually brought stuff in because you guys had a deal worked out. The Gemfish and the Paperleaf, they're both, making offers for some space. They're both, have offers that they're wanting you to consider. They're trying, so does the Accord for that matter.
Yeah. So on that note, Kib, that reminds me. Next time we can, I think we're gonna have to upgrade to having the shopping mall. That should provide us with enough storefronts to get most of these people happy.
Yeah. Give them a place to store stuff and then, sell stuff and then take a cut so that we can make things look better.
Well, and
Finish up the
honestly,
walls.
us having a shopping mall here would do us a lot of good. It would get the people that are out for supplies to at least show up for supplies.
Yes. Yes.
Huh.
We could start thinking of the planning for that. Dedicate some space that we think we want to put it, and then what walls need to go down, what walls need to go up. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. It'll take a while though. But it can be done.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. So, who else do we have to meet with today?
Well, the Gemfish trade. You haven't met the Gemfish's agent yet. Um, you haven't really gotten back to Sestra with the Accord.
Right, and that's still one that I would like to wait for
Oh yeah,
Kurad to be available for.
yeah,
Mostly because,
yeah.
well, actually, let's get Crenville in here before we meet with the Gemfish.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah,
I'll call him on his comms.
yeah. He's like, and like maybe when he answers, he's in the middle of something. He's like, no, 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 no. I told you we need a better quality sound system than what you're putting in that booth. No, we're not going to have a live DJ up there most of the time. Only special events. No, I need it to be able to run. Yes, I need it to be able to run on a playlist. Damn. Jesus, it's not rocket science. Well, he's like, actually, he's like, he'd probably swear to Besmera instead. Besmera, it's not freaking rocket science. He's like, I'm sorry. Hello.
Hello, Kurad. So,
Parad. He's like, I think you got the
did I
wrong
do it
number.
again?
Yeah, yep.
Damn it. Alright, who am I talking to? Crenville. Crenville, my apologies. I have mind on old friends. Um, or enemies. I haven't decided yet. Anyway, so I realized that you are a very busy individual, but because of your sister, I would require your presence in the office.
Uh, I'll be there. I'll be there in a few minutes. Let me wrap this up here, and I'll wrap what I'm doing up, and I'll be right up.
Okie doke. We'll see you then.
Yeah. So,
Death Arms.
Yes.
So, there's been some more graffiti on 3. That seems like something you would be into. After all, there is technically a bounty on the graffiti artists. Maybe you should do some checks and see if you can find out anything about that for us. And that
Yeah.
will give you something to do that we will pause for so that you can have some time to do your thing.
Got you.
um, so you need to go see if you can't figure out what's going on with the graffiti thing.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be right here when you get back.
Hey, watch him like a hawk. Don't let him go anywhere without you.
Of course. Ha!
All right.
Take position above Kib.
So,
Ah.
so what I need you to do, Death Arms, is, where are you going to start as far as trying to find things out about the? Are you going to start by trying to gather information from people? Are you going to try to inspect physical signs? Are you, where you like what? How are you going to go about this?
I'm going to start with asking people that live near, well, are by the graffiti.
Okay, so go ahead and give me a culture check here. So you're gathering information here. You are not able to get much out of people. There are a couple of people you figure are stonewalling you, probably because you like for whatever reason. But there's, and you imagine it's like the skinny is it's they didn't like the way you approached them. There are a couple of people. Some of the people that you talk to don't know anything. There are some people who um, who basically, that are just kind of like, they don't care. They're apathetic to the whole situation. They're like, what, painting on the bulkhead? I don't care about that. Or like, why would I know anything? Man, I just work in the shuttle bay, unloading cargo and stuff. I mean that kind of stuff. Um, so you're not really getting anywhere with investigating, talking to people. Would you like to kind of check out like the physical areas and see if you can't glean anything there?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and give me some. Do you have ranks in physical science?
Um, Physical science, no.
Okay. Um, do you have ranks in survival?
Yeah. Survival, no.
Profession bounty hunter?
Okay. For some reason, whenever I made the character, I for some reason didn't put that on.
Maybe when you level up, it's something you can put some ranks into.
Yeah.
The all right. I guess give me a perception check then. Oh, I got all. So 16. So as you're kind of poking about, like looking around, you're kind of maybe you're looking at the paintings, trying to see what you can't decipher of it, and the graffiti says things like 999 is the cycle, 1000 is beyond the spark. You know, there's runes that are painted. There's depictions of of what looked like a charred skull, and there's all these kinds of like you know and there's other things too that are less esoteric and lot more crude things um, like the followers of the disorder of Kavoy, or the 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 order of Killjoy, or the betrayers, the path of betrayers, and things like that. So there's a lot of like this kind of stuff, the stuff that's um, it's kind of hard to tell necessarily who it is, but you do come across somebody, like maybe you're inspecting sort of the lower level, and maybe you're like getting close to the level where like the lower levels that are so low that only you live on them, currently. And you find, like, you're used to finding like um, small like space rodents and things like that that come in on trade ships. I mean, small, sort of vermin animals and insects and whatnot. And you've seen a couple of electrovores down here once or twice, but you're not used to seeing other people this low in. Um, but you happen to come across a um, a small figure that seems to be ambling down the hall. Maybe about 3 feet around tall, around that size. Um, and they seem to be like they don't seem to have a direct purpose, in the sense that they're not walking like somebody walks when they're trying to walk to somewhere. They have the walk of somebody who is wandering or lost, or confused, or you're not entirely certain, but you can't really make out who or what they are from the distance you're at now.
Okay. I'm going to try and see if I can get closer to them without them noticing me.
All right, give me a stealth check. Mm, not good. Um, yeah, they continue on ambling. Like you're absolutely certain. Maybe like as you're trying to creep along the wall, like you hit some like valve or something that let off like a lot of noise or let off a bunch of noise or something. And you don't see how this person could have just not heard that at all, but they don't seem to be reacting to it. They simply continue to meander around. Or they're, you know, continue. Maybe they stop at like a juncture and look around for a moment, and they turn around and they stop. They walk around in a complete circle, staring at the ground, and they scratch their head for a second, sit down, seem to be staring off into the distance, and eventually get back up and head right, like they knew that was the direction they were supposed to go all along. Um, but still, not in any pace like they're going to someplace really.
Death Arms, because you are the bounty hunter in charge on the station, you can try and pull mild police rank on him if you want to try that method.
Okay, so I'm going to see if I can get close enough where I can touch him without him noticing.
Well, it seems for a minute like you're going to be able to, but the moment you get within like a foot, within like 5 feet of him, he turns around and is like, "Oh, hey, here's, are you following me or something?" And it's a goblin. And it's a goblin that he's wearing. Um, it's a rather interesting getup because he's wearing, what looks like freebooter armor, but he's wearing like a lab coat over the top of it, and he's wearing like fuzzy slippers. And actually, he's not even wearing a lab coat over. He's wearing like a bathrobe over the top of it, and he's wearing slippers. And he kind of turns around, and you see that he's got like a like some sort of needle pistol on his hip, but he makes no move for it. And he kind of looks at you, and he's like, um, and he kind of looks at you, he's like, "Whoa!" He goes, he's like, "You following me, man?" He's like, "You've been following me for a while. At least you've been going the same direction. Like, do you know where you're going? Because I don't know where you're going. I don't think I even know where I'm. Hey, do you know where I'm going?"
Why would I know where you're going? I'm just following you to make sure that
Uh,
you're not making any graffiti type of art on these walls. It's starting to get a little pet.
he's like, "No, man." He goes, "It was like some of it's pretty good artwork, but I mean, I, I failed art class, man. Well, I didn't fail it. That's just what the teacher said." And he kind of chuckles at that. And he goes, "I think I did pretty good." He goes, and and he kind of looks and he kind of looks at you. He goes, and he's like, "So, he's like, if you don't know where I'm going, and I don't know I guess I don't know where. I guess nobody knows where I'm going." He goes, he goes, "So, is there a place here worth going? I mean, is there some place here that I should be going?"
Well, here is what I know is that somebody is making little type of graffiti on these walls, and I am going to put an end to it, whether you help me figure it out or not.
He looks at you for a minute. He looks at for you a minute, and his eyes grow wide. And he goes, "Graffiti? Where?" And he looks around, like, and he's like, "Where?" Like, He's like, and he kind of looks around. If the like, maybe there's some graffiti like slightly down the hallway, and like he goes and wanders off in that direction, and he stops in front of it, and he kind of like strokes his chin and stares at it um, for a minute, and and while he's standing there staring at it, he pulls out like a a bag off of his. He pulls out like a bag off of his side, um, and he pulls out a case that that you hadn't noticed that he had kind of attached to his belt, and he sets both of them on the ground for a minute. He digs around in the bag for a minute. And digs around in his pouch for a minute, and he kind of looks at a couple of things. You can't see what he's doing for a minute because he's a bit down the hallway and the lighting's kind of funky, and he's the angle of where he's at. But after a couple of minutes, he seems satisfied. He closes the case back up and puts it on his belt, and stands up with stands up with the bag in one hand, and with the other hand, he holds up, some sort of pre-rolled something, which he proceeds to light and stands there smoking it, and goes, there's not like a lot of color in this, but like the lines are nice. Like I like the way they use like the negative space here. It was kind of nice. And he goes, but I don't know, man. Everybody makes skulls. And I don't know what the big deal about skulls are. Everybody likes skulls for some reason. I don't get it. I mean, a little overused if you ask me. And he kind of looks around and he's like, and he looks at you like he just noticed you. And he goes, oh, hey. He goes, you should look at this, man. It's kind of cool. Like, it got some cool stuff with the negative space going on. Hey, he said, and he turns back and looks at the graffiti and continues to smoke on, the rolled cigarette or whatever it is. And is he's like, hey, buddy, like,
All right, so I'm going to run up to him, grab him, and like pull out my knife at the same time and hold up against his throat. And I said, if you don't stop messing around, I swear to God, you will not live to see the next day. So
he
help
goes,
me figure this out. I know you know something.
he goes, well, I know a lot of things. I know all kinds of things about herbal and holistic remedies. And he takes the rolled cigarette and he holds it up to you and he goes, here, try this, man. It'll help you calm down. He's like, by the way, my name is Dr. Oglehop. I am an accredited doctor, and I'm also an accredited expert on herbology and botany and medical sciences and it goes and all kinds of stuff. And should really find your place in the universe. Like, and I'm also a spiritual guide. I went to college for that, and he kind of like he just seems like he's just like a little lost to some extent. Like but and he's like, I didn't get your name, man.
All right, so I'm going to take another one of my arms and like smack the cigarette or whatever out of his hand and then stomp on it. And I'm going to throw him across the hall and say, my name is none of your importance. You will help me whether you like it or not.
Well, the moment you go to smack the cigarette out of his hands and stomp on it, he goes, that wasn't cool, man. And you go to throw him, and he's not in your hands, and you realize that now he is underneath, he has somehow slipped out of your grasp, mid-threat, and he's walked behind you and is staring at the thing on the wall again. And he's like, I still can't get over this, man. Who's the artist? Because we should find whoever did this. I want to ask them how they did this, man. So I want a sample of their work. I don't know what this means, man. It's just 999 is the cycle. And he's like, hey, come on, man, let's go find whoever did this. And he kind of starts looking around and starts wandering down the hallway.
Fine.
He does not seem to know where he's going or where to start at. But he does somehow, if you follow him, he does lead you kind of back up to the area, like the sort of like more commercial area where they're building the casino, and people are kind of wandering about sort of their business. And he kind of looks, sort of using the space for socially, interactions. And he looks around and he goes, and maybe he walks by Father Karef and stops for a minute and listens to him preaching. He goes, oh, so that's where they got it from. Well, it's got to be somebody who listens to this guy.
Alright, and then I'm going to just completely ignore the goblin. I'm going to turn to the father and say, I need you to tell me who follows you and who would be doing all this graffiti.
Father Karef just kind of says, he stops and he says, I'm sorry, my friend. He says, I've already explained to the council that I am not responsible for the actions of others. I merely preach a warning of what is to come. What they do with it beyond that is unknown to me. I believe they made certain that there is a camera where I speak the word and where I sleep.
Well, not in his room.
Well, you've got to know at least one of your followers and know which room they're in.
He says, they are not my followers. They simply heed the warning. He says, have you heard the prophecies of the Vestian prophecies? Have the council saw fit to speak to you on this?
Yes, it is all around me. How can I not see it?
He goes, you understand my function here is only to warn people that they may prepare for the coming doom that faces us all. And to warn you all that the followers of the path of the Kavoy are betrayers. They're heretics. And he goes, and he says, and he says, as to who, I am no enforcer of laws. I would not even know where to begin with such an investigation. Darkness can lurk in so many people, as can artistic talent.
Basically, all of this is not artistic. It is graffiti, and they will be punished for what they've done, no matter what the cost is.
He's like, as you say, those who perish before the great doom are spared some measure of torment. He says, I would help you, but if I could. But alas, I don't know anything at the moment. And he says, uh, he, he says, may I continue with my warnings now? Or do you have further questions?
As long as you warn whoever listens to you not to do graffiti anymore, I am cool with you. But if you don't, we will be having some serious issues. Now have a good day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Dr. Oglehop kind of, as you're walking, like he joins you as you walk away, which is weird because he seems to lack any real direction for the most part. And he looks thoughtful, almost in the same way that he looked when he was staring at the painting. And he seems to be rubbing his chin again. And he looks back at Father Karef and he's like, and he looks at the holy symbol of Xiphus on, and he kind of like stares at it for a minute, and he's like, I'm not sure I like his spiritual path, man. He's, you know, he goes, I tend to prefer hope, and that's not hope. And he goes, and he looks back at the father like he doesn't fully trust him again, and he goes, you're still on the path, and he goes and kind of shrugs his shoulders, and kind of looks around. Um, give me perception or sense motive here.
Whichever's higher. Also, by the way, I know you don't necessarily mean to have, sir, but you made us a new friend today, and I haven't even met them yet.
All right, give me a sense motive. All right. So you're kind of looking around and you're kind of looking around at kind of a loss, and you've kind of spaced out. Like maybe you've almost kind of spaced out Dr. Oglehop at this point because you're concentrating so hard on your job and you clearly find him a bit annoying. And he kind of but they're like you've completely spaced. And the last thing you remember hearing him talk about was he had gone completely off topic and was talking about the relative biological functions of a bori, which is what Father Karef is. What their physical functionings and how their biology works, and what it kind of means in a spiritual sense. And all of a sudden, you're kind of like lost in thought, and you feel a tugging at like your a tugging on your sleeve, or your belt or whatever. And you look down, and Dr. Oglehop's like, "Hey," he goes, "that guy over there, like he kind of looked like he was looking at you kind of funny, like maybe he didn't want you to find him." And you look up in time to see like this you look up in time to see a pale-skinned humanoid of some sort. You can't make out exactly. You suspect potentially Barai, but there's plenty of undead, pale-skinned undead in the universe. And the moment that you like you see you lot you they see you, they immediately, and they're on the other side of the crowd from you. They take off running towards the docking bay. Um, and they sort of take off running towards the docking bay as soon as they see you notice them.
Okay, so I'm going to like straight up run through people, knocking them over, not caring as long as I get this guy.
So give me an athletics check here. All right. So you manage most of the people in your way are generally mediocres, same as you, and that you're able to force your way through most of them. Um, you do have to say excuse me to a noir, which is basically a space minotaur. Think minotaur with two sets of with four horns on their head instead of two. Like a really large noir, you kind of have to like he's big, he's muscular, he's obviously a space pirate. He's not just some nobody that's, and hey, kind of he's like, "Hey," you kind of have to like excuse yourself a little bit before he fully moves out of your way. But you do make good time um, as far as it goes. He's still quite a bit ahead of you. Um, give me another athletics check here. I'm going to give him I'm going to ad hoc him a total here. He's got a head start on you though, so let's see.
Maybe he'll trip.
You're gaining some ground on him this round. Let's see. Let's make me another athletics check here. He manages to get ahead of you again. This time he rounds a corner. Really quickly. Give me another athletics check to see if you can get to the corner before he manages to cut and run. Ooh, no. Yeah, by the time you get to the corner and you look the direction that he actually took off in, you realize that there's a junction that split, a four-way junction that splits, and you didn't get there. You didn't quite get there fast enough to see what direction he went. He could have gone right, left, or forward. And you can give me a sense motive check here to see if you can get at least some kind of guess.
Nope.
You have no idea which direction he could have gone.
Wow, man, it looks like you lost him, huh?
Well, you don't see Dr. Oglehop near you. Like he didn't he didn't run with you necessarily the same direction or anything.
But he
But
was polite and courteous to everyone, so he still made it there in the same amount of time.
well, you have no idea where he's at right now. Jesus, you're
I
like,
know.
where the fuck did that goblin go? You're like, me. But yeah, there's there. Maybe we get like the cut scene of maybe we get a cut scene like here of well, actually, give me a guess here real quick. Where do you think he went to?
Well, typically right is always right, so I'm gonna guess he went left.
All right. Let's go.
Always go left, man, because three lefts make a right. Oof.
All right. You actually you pick left and you head left, and going down left, you manage to make it to the sort of like the docking area, or one of the docking areas, which sort of would seem to make sense. He seems to be getting ready to he's There is a ship that's getting ready to leave docking right now, like it was dropping off a few passengers, and he is running through the door to get to leave. Ninvis, who is there, is like, "Whoa!" He's like, "Hey man, he's in a hurry, and like you have one chance to see if you can tackle um, him before he's able to jump onto the ship and
Ooh,
get off station.
that's a combat maneuver. Ouch.
So,
This is where you need that 20, sir.
Mm-hmm.
so actually, I'm gonna make it an athletics check here.
Oh,
So, an
this is
opposed.
still where that 20 would be cool.
So go ahead and give me your athletics roll. Ooh,
Very nice, sir.
yeah,
That's good. Not bad.
you managed to tackle him to the ground. Let me see here.
I would just like to add at this moment that Nimbus knows him and would know procedures for something like this.
Let me see something I need to find. Where is it? There is a book I need. You didn't get the roll until the last roll. Let's see. I need to find the thing for him. Okay. So roll me an initiative here.
That's very Kasathan. Ha!
Well, you barely beat him out. I need if you are going to I need how are you going to handle this? Like you tackled him, you're both on the ground. You're not entangled with each other necessarily. You just kind of managed to knock him to the ground. You get a grip on him. But how are you going to do this from here? You're both scrambling to get up and
Okay, so I'm going to. Yeah, I will just try to take my knife off of the left side of my hip and try to cut his ankle so that he cannot run away anymore.
you want to try to attack him with your knife. Okay, so
Yeah.
give me an attack roll with your knife.
Yep.
Damn it. Well, I did it, and then I like.
Nice.
Nice, that hits. So I need to get this right here. So. He he also pulls out a knife. Whoa, that's I can't type.
I have faith in you. You stabbed me, man. I can't believe you stabbed. Oh,
Oh,
fuck.
fuck! He critted. So
Damn it.
like that is. Oh, damn it! Me typing. Yep. He stabs you for 16 points of damage. Like you go to stab him in the leg, and as you're lunging for his leg, you stab him in the leg. He catches you directly in the chest and as you're lunging forward and stabs you right in the chest. You take 16 points.
Yeah, but how much bleed damage does he have?
It doesn't have the bleed critical properties.
I know. It's a knife.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
So, uh, it's your turn.
Okay. Okay, so like I am like right next to him, right?
Yeah,
you just stabbed you in the chest.
You're right in front of him. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to try to like act like I'm going to attack him with my knife again, but use one of my other 3 arms to punch him.
So you want to use a feint maneuver?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me grab the thing here. Rules on feint. So I'm gonna need a bluff check from you first.
Uh,
Even if you don't have ranks in it. Not bad at all.
no, it is not.
So I need to look up that.
Just kind of hoping for a nat 20 to hit him right back. Pretty sure I'll get that on the attack.
Well, and with a nat 20, there's a chance that there's a knockout, so
Yeah.
not
Like
much.
I'd rather knock him out and then put him in this versions of jail, so that
Yeah,
I
the
can't.
brig.
Yeah, the brig, so I can talk to him without him trying to run away or escape.
Mm.
Hmm.
Huh.
And I'm
So,
by 4 arms.
Kib,
137.
would you like another shot of Takari and Brandy?
Feint. Okay.
Is halfway done.
Standard
Yeah,
action.
thanks.
Buff, combat.
Okay,
I'm
there
just
you go.
organizing.
The DC of the check is equal to.
Sorry, everyone. Rules.
Ooh. Yeah, he sees it coming,
Aw.
and he's able to see it coming. I mean, go. It's not going to be a feint, but go ahead and make your attack roll. So if you'd have passed, you would have caught him flat-footed, which he kind of denied his dex bonus to his armor class. But you were not successful. You go to make it look like, and he actually sees it coming, and he's going to react to it. But you still get to make your attack roll. So go ahead and make that
With the melee.
with your melee attack. 13. That is not enough. He is going to attack you back. 15. Does 15 hit your KAC?
My KAC, no.
Okay, so he misses you this time. Go ahead, your turn.
Okay. And I'll just go with the knife again.
That's enough to hit, at least. All right. Um, he's going to attack again, and he misses again. Go ahead and attack, or take your turn. That
I'll be
is,
4.
that's barely enough. All right. I'm gonna guess that hits.
Yeah.
7 points of damage.
Alright.
All right.
Get him.
It's on you.
Yeah, okay, again.
Stab him in the face again. That hits.
Huh?
Man, the algorithm hates you for damage tonight, though.
Yeah.
That's your third 5 damage in a row.
That's the wrong.
Yeah, Ow.
Oh yeah, that definitely hits.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, totally.
that misses.
Yeah, that misses. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try another feint maneuver with my knife.
Okay.
It's a
Give me
bluff.
the bluff check.
Let's go!
Yeah.
Nice.
Go!
6 plus 1. Make your attack roll. That's enough to hit. Roll damage. If you're just punching him, it's a 1d4.
Okay.
Oh, and if you're punching him, you're also considered unarmed, which means
Hang on. I thought Vanguards had a thing.
well, if you're using your entropic strike, that's a different thing. If you're just punching him without the entropic strike, then that's you're considered unarmed.
Yeah, I'm just punching him unarmed.
Okay. All right. So roll your damage. It's a 1d4, and he gets, since you're using a fist instead of your knife here, he gets an attack of opportunity. So you did 2 points of damage to him. He manages to stab you. Does 7 more points of damage. Like, you punch him, but you leave yourself open to get stabbed, and he stabs you again. But it is now his actual turn. And that's probably not enough to hit.
Nope.
All right.
Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna. Death Arm's gonna be like, you know what? Fuck this, I'm getting sick and tired of dealing with you, and I'm going to shoot him with
All
my
right.
sonic pistol.
All right. Firing a weapon, a ranged weapon at close range. Open yourself up for attack of opportunity again. All right. That's 15. Not enough to hit, and you open yourself up, and he's going to make you pay for that again.
Okay.
8
So,
points damage.
murder arms. I mean, you know what I mean. You have mitigate, which is a Vanguard special ability at 2nd level on your character sheet somewhere. This might be the time where you want to start using that.
Fair enough. For some reason, I always completely forget about the special abilities.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
makes a Vanguard better than a fighter. Otherwise, you're better off
Well,
just being a soldier.
and this is the first time he's done enough damage to actually give you an entropy point. You had one at the beginning of the combat because you gain one automatically, but this is the first time he's given you one, or by doing enough damage.
Yeah.
So you have 2 entropy points that you can spend on various abilities, or you're amping your damage with your entropic strike should you choose to use that. But utilizing your gun, he got the attack of opportunity. Now it's his actual attack. Damn.
Damn, what the fuck?
Ouch.
5 points of damage.
Yeah.
It worked. Okay, also you have this thing called reactive. Once per day you can take an additional reaction during a single round. Though you can still only take one reaction per triggered event, you can take a reaction before
Well,
the first time. Oh wait, it's too late for that.
and
My apologies.
well, and a reaction is if something he does triggers a reaction, or
Which would have been the attack of opportunity.
nope, that doesn't trigger a reaction. An
Okay,
attack of opportunity is a reaction, but it doesn't trigger a reaction.
very well.
So, but it is now your turn again.
Uh-huh.
This is where I need to know whether you have whether you're using whether you have the reactive or exert aspect, because it does matter. You don't get both; you only get one.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not going to use either of those abilities in combat abilities for either of those, that's fine. Um, but if you're going to use your Vanguard aspect in any way, I need to have a final decision on which one it is.
Yeah.
You could continue to punch this thing out and maybe just use your other Vanguard abilities, but so what was that?
I'm gonna use Entropic Strike, see how powerful that is.
All right. So go ahead and make the attack roll. You should have attack. Yeah, there you go. 12. Not enough to hit, but that would have been some pretty good damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. All right. He's gonna make it like. What does this look like? Does like black energy surround your fist as you turn on your entropic strike to hit? Is it are there does it look like the space around it has a distortion? The fist looks like it's got a distortion effect. I mean, what does this look like when you activate your Vanguard power here?
Okay. So, alright, so like he opens up his hand like he's gonna do like some sort of like a fireball maneuver, and then he closes his hand back into a fist, and it starts to look like there's fire surrounding it. And then he goes to swing, but I'm assuming he slightly misses and hits the floor.
Right. Okay.
And
Yeah.
and then all that energy just spreads throughout the floor.
All right. He is going to attack back. He is going to attempt to attack you again. He's pretty good at that. And he stabs you again with his knife with 7 more points of damage.
Okay. Alright, this is where I gotta start using my chest brain here. Um,
Where are you at on stamina and hit points?
my stamina points are gone, and my hit points are at 2.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so I'm assuming that I can roll off of him and act like I am dead.
Okay. You're
But
gonna.
like if he does get an attack of opportunity, I'm going to use my reaction to roll away so that whenever he does trying to hit me, I'm assuming he's hitting with what, a knife?
Yeah, that's what he's been stabbing you with.
I roll away and the knife goes into the floor or Dolan's it. So I'm
Oh.
going to roll off to his right.
All right. So, all right. So you give me the bluff check to play dead. Yeah, he looks at you. He looks at you and he's like, "Nope!" And he jumps right onto the. He jumps through the hatchway to get onto the departing ship. And the like maybe the airlock doors close as you're kind of sitting there bleeding on the deck, like damn. And fucking Ninvis is like, "Hey man," it was like. He's like, "Hey man, he got away," and I think that's about the time that Doctor Oglehop shows up, and he's like, and he goes, "Oh man, hold on, dude, he got a number on you. Stay right there. I'm a doctor. I'll help you out here. I'm also a spiritual being," and he kind of lays his hand on you, and he's like, by the stars, you know, look out for this one's destiny. He ain't dead yet, so maybe he should be less dead. And uh, um, and he actually heals you of. Oops. He actually heals you 10 hit points worth of damage. He's like, and he's like, as you see, like this sort of shining, shimmering silver, like magical energy, like surround his hands for a minute and spread through your body, and you feel some of your injuries heal up a little bit here. You're still, probably in pretty bad shape, and your culprit got away, but Dr. Oglehop, is like at least healed you a little bit at this point. He's like,
Right about then, Kib and I show up because while
yeah,
Nimbus didn't say anything at the time, he did call us.
yeah, that's reasonable.
Whoa! What happened here?
Damn bastard got away.
There's this guy. He looked all suspicious. We were talking to Father Karef, and he was looking all suspicious at this guy here. And I still don't know your name. And he looked like he was like suspicious. And when dude looked at him, he ran. And then they like ran after him. And then like by the time I got here, he was like bleeding on the deck. I tried to help him a little bit, man, because I mean, he he seems like a nice guy. I mean, he's really angry. He's kind of a dick, but he's okay. And he's like, and he kind of look, and he's like,
All
oh,
right.
that. He's like, who are you?
One
We have
moment, dear.
cameras on this deck.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So
I
we need-
motion at Nimbus and I motion at Nimbus and I'm like, who is this guy?
And Ninvis looks at him and he's like, he's like, I don't know. I mean, I think he came in with one of the ships recently. I don't know who he is. He's like,
Right.
he's like,
But you're supposed to know who this is because you wrote down his name and the fact
he's like,
that he was Goblin.
oh yeah, and he pulls out his data pad and he starts looking through the names and whatnot. And the goblin looks up at you, still wearing like his fucking
Yeah, did
bathrobe
he get his robe back on? Okay.
armor, and he's just like, and he like,
When did you get here, little person?
he's like, he looks at you, he goes, whoa. First of all, my name is Dr. Oglehop, and I am a medical doctor, and I specialize in holistic organic treatments and spiritual guidance. And he goes, Is I'm he says I've gone to school for biology and for spirituality and for theology and and he's like, so wait. He goes,
Okay.
and he looks back down at Death Arm's like, hey man, what are you doing lying there? Oh wait,
I look back at Nimbus. Did Nimbus ever find him?
yeah, Ninvis finds me. He's like, oh yeah, he's Dr. Oglehop.
Okay.
He came
I was just
in.
making sure we weren't infested suddenly.
He came in on a trade ship, and he's like, yeah, he came in on a trade ship a couple of days ago. He's like,
Okay. So this is what we're going to do because it'll be fun. Nimbus, I want you to set him up with an office right next to Kurad's office. Like,
oh wow,
we're going to
an
split
office.
Kurad's big office into 2 parts while Kurad is busy. And when he gets back, there's going to be a goblin doctor in his office.
He's
Hey,
like,
man. Let me see if I can speak goblin. Hey, man.
he's like,
Wait, do I speak goblin? I do speak goblin. Yo, man. So we're gonna give you a spot to stay and an office so you can do doctor stuff. And you're gonna be my friend Kurad's new best friend. Okay?
he's like, whoa. He goes, he looks down at you, Death Arms, and he goes, I told you I wasn't lost. I'm right where I'm supposed to be, man. And he has this big grin on his face, and he sits down and he pulls out a pre-rolled, and he sits down and takes out a pre-rolled and starts smoking it.
Yeah. I whisper to Kib. I'm like, Kib, give him a room on level 6.
There's a lot of vacancies there.
Yeah.
Since he's
Now-
sitting next to me, I'm just gonna go over, grab the pre-roll, and just squeeze it out. And it's gonna, while I'm panting for breath, I'm gonna say, "No smoking in here."
he's like, oh man, that's a bummer. And he goes, oh, okay. And he pulls it. He goes, I guess if we're worried about a fire hazard, because there's so many trees in here. And he kind of smiles like he made a joke. He goes, he reaches back, he pulls a case off of his, or he reaches into he starts digging around in the pockets of his bathrobe, and he pulls out like a little compact thing, and he opens it up, and there's a purple dust. There's like a purple dust in it, in there, and he taps a little bit of it out onto the back of his hand and snorts it, and he goes, I'm gonna be straight for 24 hours now. I mean, bent straight, but straight. He goes,
Hey, Kib. This guy's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So I'm curious about the security footage of the camera in this room. I want to see what happened.
Do you want me to give you the help check on the computer?
Sure.
Here's a help check. Yay, help check.
well, you guys are able to pull up the security footage. Like, pretty much you're able to track down all of Death Arm's movement as it were, um, as he went through his investigation, and you're able to find that you see where he met Dr. Oglehop, and where Dr. Oglehop has just sort of followed him around or led the way, even to some extent. He's kind of, but and you kind of see the interaction with Father Karef and whatnot, and you see the chase ensue, and you see the brutal fight scene, the brutal fight scene between this unknown undead person and Death Arms.
The question is, can we get an image of the other individual's face and do a comparison to records to pinpoint who this person is.
Yeah, Nimbus should have records of whoever this is if he came on board properly.
That's sort of a that's sort of a weird issue. You can't get like none of the security footage because he was in motion from the time that he ran. There you can't get a clear shot of his face.
We can't backtrack it further, but like before the interaction, like we see where he starts at. He's got to have a movement from before that.
Right. But from prior to that, like it's hard to get where he actually comes from because the earliest movement you get from him, it almost feels like he materialized in a crowd somewhere because you can't see where he joined a crowd in any specific point. You're not sure if he even ever left a crowd. For all you know, he may have disembarked with a crowd and just stayed in the social areas in a crowd until such time as the incident happened. It's
As
really
you
hard
wish.
to say. It's really hard to say, but the
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If that's all we can do for now. But let's put him on. Sorry, Nimbus and DeFrom. Please help Death Arms down to the med bay. It'll be a while before the doctor. Well, I guess this doctor could do it.
yeah, he's like
So, Doctor, I'll learn the rest of your name later.
he goes,
We actually have a medical bay. Do you want to escort this man and further see to his stabbies?
he's like, oh wait, yeah, I am a doctor. I'm accredited. And he goes, yeah, sure. He's like, I'd be happy to help out.
All right, I have one more thing to ask because I thought about it. Remember in last episode I said that we had sent a message to the circle, the knights, and you said it'd been
Order of Kavoy, yeah.
Yeah, you said it'd been 2 weeks. So have we heard anything from the Order of Kavoy yet?
From the Order of Kavoy, you got a message back that that they're going to be heading back in that direction. They're not entirely certain. They were like they weren't able to like give you a direct answer of anything right there, but they were like they are sending somebody like their representative is going to be coming back to look into what you're talking about to like what's his name, Prev Brelis. Yeah, Prev.
We like him.
He'll be heading back to check in and whatnot and find out what's going. As far as it goes,
I have one more thing to ask, but it will take a week because I was like, before this ends, can we try recruiting?
Well, if it's been a couple weeks anyway, you guys can try to. Sure.
Okay, so Kib, we figured out that if you delegate the work to either Defron or Colovian, that you get a +7 to the roll instead of your +3. But we have to remember how to delegate work first. Jester, that's on you.
That should be in Galaxy Operations. I think basically all you have to do is say you're just delegating work.
I don't know why I'm not typing it into Google. Sorry.
And then our organization makes the actual check. I think it's just basically you delegate that you want organization to do shit, and it does shit. And then you make
rules. It's in Galaxy Explorations, page 101.
Yep.
Organize, perform, downtime. Yeah, so you just got to roll with a +7 instead of your +3.
Yep. Just roll a 1d20 +7 because you're
diplomacy, right?
And then, yep. And you've got to roll the diplomacy, so.
Yes. Go Kib. Oh wait, no, that's computers.
So.
Did you hear that, Scott?
So just
Are you
roll
out? Okay, there he is.
Yeah, just roll a 1d20.
Oh wait, well, Kib rolled his diplomacy.
There you go. Well,
Okay. Well, that's how it worked.
Yeah.
So we got
you
one
each
more
so you both get one more, and these are of follower
follower.
status. They're not member level. They're
Uh,
follower.
so they're faceless cogs, but we have more. I will write them down now before I forget.
Mm-hmm.
Lichdom Corporation.
Okay, so I want to notify Nimbus to pay attention that if that dude ever comes back on, that we should be notified.
Right. He'll definitely.
And
He's definitely okay with that. Well, he'll definitely get on that. Um,
that was weird.
all right.
Followers.
Wait. All right. Hold on. Since that guy got on board, shouldn't Nimbus have his name Andres?
Uh, if you guys had got a good enough physical description for him to look it up, yeah. But you guys were in a
Nimbus was
scuffle.
there the whole time, sir.
Yes, but they were in the middle of a scuffle. I don't know if you've tried to identify somebody who's in the middle of a fight very often, but sometimes that's not exactly easy.
I accept this as fact, and we move on.
You know. Plus, Ninvis isn't there 24 hours a day.
No.
He does have time off too, so
Yes, he gets regular days off.
he actually has to sleep sometimes too. He's a human, so
We'll
you know,
fix that sometime. No, I'm just kidding. Nimbus is
but
fine.
yeah, but yeah, the
Establish he was there.
but as far as it goes, as far as it goes, like like I think at this point, so
Yeah.
you guys got your 2 new followers. And I think we're getting close enough here that we may as well look
Yeah.
to doing sign-offs and everything. Your player's choice. And who wants to go first?
Kib.
Oh wait, that's me. So I'm Scott. I played Kid, and he's getting more organized. Um, he's doing better. He's getting more organized. Everything going well and stuff. It'll be this fun. I'm also on Saturdays in lands of Ibaria. Yeah, and I'm a fun little cat, and I can be a big little cat, medium-sized cat. I don't know. I like being a cat in that one. But we're gonna go do other things, negotiate with other
Dragon.
people, and maybe fight a dragon. That'll be weird, but it'll be fun. Come watch. Watch the older episodes. We're a fun little group. That's it.
Fun. Soul Demon.
Hello, I am Soul Demon. I played Death Arms. That's his name. And I pretty much tracked down the guy that graffitied, fought him, almost died to him, but thankfully I play chess and I know how to think strategically and know when to back off. And yeah, I'm also in Saturday, but I haven't been there because of work. And that's it for me.
Hello. Tonight I was David the Gnome. No, I'm just kidding. Tonight I was Philip the Foe. But I am David the Gnome, and this is the only game I'm playing. It's been coming along, and we got to do some silly stuff tonight, and I'm happy about that. So with that said, on to the one and only Just a King. Justa, you're
Sorry,
muted. Oh, there you are.
All right. Here we are. Sorry.
You're great.
All right. So, on a count of 2, first of all, let's get bookkeeping out of the way for 2 reasons. Because we did end up having combat I didn't exactly count on, but we did do a lot of plot stuff, and because everybody tied up for player's choice, going to go ahead and give you guys some experience points. Everybody gets 400 each. And because of your trade deal, because of the fact that you're still working your trade deals, you got your new representative for the Velquin Alliance in, or Empire in, and whatnot. You also make as a company, you also make 1,400 credits for you guys to distribute amongst yourselves. I mean, this is your company paying you extra for the extra stuff paying you out for all the extra trade you guys manage. So you decide how you're divvying that out.
We'll get to that next week when Brian's here. You said 1,400 though, right?
Yep, 1,400, 1,400. Your experience points is just 400. So.
Yes. I meant credits, sir. I was not trying to get extra experience.
All right, excellent. I just wanted to make sure I was clear because I wasn't clear with just communicating to people earlier today, apparently.
Okay.
With that said, I am the Just a King Zerat, and you can catch me on Monday nights for this thing. I'm not, I'm the guy running this thing, more or less. And tonight was a little bit. It was a different episode than what I expected it to be, but when plans change, you just roll with it as best you can. So you can catch me here on Monday nights. I'm kicking around the idea of doing something on Sundays. I haven't, organized anything yet or done anything with it, but it could happen. Stay tuned. And I am going to try to get back to my other channel of Zerat for some
CWE.
For what ZWE? Yeah, it has been a while for the ZWE. But with that, let's bring out the dragon and get out of here.
Bring out the dragon.